The green room buzzed with controlled chaos. Makeup artists touched up faces. Producers barked into headsets. The air smelled of hairspray and cold coffee. Marcus Chen adjusted his royal blue tie in the mirror. 20 years at Channel 7. 8 Emmys, the face of primetime news. He glanced at his watch. 7 minutes to air. Then he saw her. A black woman sat in the corner armchair, emerald green blazer crisp, hands folded in her lap. She didn't look nervous. She looked evaluating. Marcus frowned. "Excuse me, this area is restricted to talent and essential personnel." She met his eyes but said nothing. He stepped closer. "Did you get lost?" "The intern offices are downstairs. If you're looking for catering, I'm exactly where I need to be," she said. Her voice was quiet, steady. Marcus's jaw tightened. "Look, I don't know how you got past security, but I need to focus before my broadcast. This is my space." His producer, Daniel, rushed over. "Marcus, maybe we should—" "Daniel, handle this." Marcus turned back to the mirror. "I don't have time for whatever this is." The woman stood slowly. She was tall. Her gaze didn't waver. "I'll remember this conversation," she said. Marcus laughed, short and dismissive. "I'm sure you will." Daniel's face had gone grey. He was staring at his phone, then at the woman, then back at Marcus. Someone whispered a name. Marcus didn't catch it. The woman walked toward the door. Her heels clicked once, twice, 3 times, then she paused. "See you after the show, Mr. Chen." The door closed. The green room exhaled. Marcus shrugged. What was that about? Daniel opened his mouth, closed it. "Opened it again, Marcus," he whispered. "That was Dr. Naomi Clark." The name meant nothing. Marcus grabbed his notes and headed for the studio. Behind him, Daniel was already typing frantically on his phone. 15 years ago, Naomi Clark recorded her first podcast in a studio apartment in Atlanta. 1 microphone, 1 dream, 1 unshakable belief that media could be different. She'd grown up watching her grandmother clean office buildings at night. "Baby," her grandmother would say, "you don't ask for a seat at the table, you buy the whole restaurant." Naomi took that literally. Her podcast became a platform. The platform became a production company. The production company became a media conglomerate. She moved in silence, while others moved in press releases. She'd survived 15 years of hostile boardrooms, white men talking over her, investors asking if she had the temperament for leadership, colleagues stealing her ideas and getting promoted for them. She learned to document everything, record conversations, build alliances with precision, accumulate capital and leverage like weapons. 6 months ago, Channel 7's owner, an aging magnate named Richard Caldwell, had a stroke. His children didn't want the network. They wanted cash. Naomi made an offer. It was accepted 3 weeks ago. The paperwork finalized yesterday. Today was supposed to be simple. A quiet tour of her new acquisition. Meet the staff privately. Announce the transition next week. She'd arrived early, dressed down, wanting to observe the culture unnoticed. She got the full experience. Marcus Chen's words still echoed. "Service entrance. Did you get lost?" The casual assumption that she didn't belong in rooms like these. Naomi had heard it 1,000 times. From investment bankers, television executives, Caldwell himself the first time they met. But this time was different. This time she owned the building. She took the elevator to the executive floor. The hallway stretched empty before her. Afternoon light slanted through floor-to-ceiling windows. Her new office still had Caldwell's furniture. Mahogany desk, leather chairs, photos of him shaking hands with presidents. She sat down, pulled out her phone, dialed her attorney. "James, move up the announcement."
"I want the staff meeting today."
5 o'clock, a pause on the other end. "That's aggressive, Naomi. We discussed a softer rollout." Plans changed. She spun slowly in the chair, watching the city sprawl below. "I want everyone in Conference A, no exceptions. Especially Marcus Chen." "What happened?" "Nothing new," she said. "Just the same old script. But this time I get to write the ending." She hung up. On her desk, Caldwell had left a note. "Good luck with the sharks." Naomi smiled. Sharks only scared you if you swam alone. She'd brought a whole ocean, 30 minutes before air. The green room was Marcus's sanctuary. He controlled it like he controlled his interviews, absolutely. When he saw the woman in the emerald blazer, his instinct was immediate. She didn't fit. Not the usual producer or guest. Too composed. Too present. "Excuse me," he'd said, his tone carrying the weight of 20 years of authority. "This area is restricted to talent and essential personnel." She looked at him like she was solving a math problem. No fear, no deference. That irritated him more than the intrusion. "Did you get lost?" He gestured vaguely. "The intern offices are downstairs. If you're looking for catering, I'm exactly where I need to be." The audacity. Marcus felt his face heat. Daniel was rushing over, phone in hand, eyes wide. "Daniel, handle this," Marcus snapped. He turned back to his reflection. "I don't have time for whatever this is." Daniel's voice came out strangled. "Marcus, I think you should escort her out." Marcus straightened his collar. "I have a broadcast in 6 minutes. I need to focus." He heard her stand. The rustle of expensive fabric. "I'll remember this conversation," she said. Marcus laughed, the sound sharp in the small room. "I'm sure you will." He caught her reflection in the mirror. She wasn't angry. She wasn't embarrassed. She was memorizing him. "There's a service entrance on the ground floor," he added, almost as an afterthought. "Might be easier for you to find your way that way." The room went silent. Even the makeup artist stopped moving. Daniel's face was white. "Marcus, what?" Marcus spun around. "Am I wrong?" "She clearly doesn't belong in here." "Security should know better." The woman walked past him. 3 measured steps. She paused at the door. "See you after the show, Mr. Chen." Then she was gone. Marcus shook his head. Unbelievable. The entitlement. Daniel was staring at his phone like it was showing him footage of an impending disaster. "Marcus," he whispered. "That was Dr. Naomi Clark. The woman who just bought Channel 7. The words took a moment to land. Marcus blinked. "What?" "The acquisition. It finalized yesterday. She's the new owner. She's your boss." The makeup artist made a small sound. The intern in the corner looked like he might cry. Marcus's mouth opened, closed, his brain scrambled for purchase. "That can't... I didn't know. Why didn't anyone..." "2 minutes to air," someone called from the hallway. Daniel gripped his shoulder. "Go. Do the show. We'll figure this out after." Marcus walked to the studio in a daze. The lights were too bright. His notes swam on the teleprompter. He delivered his opening monologue on autopilot, smiled at the camera, hit his marks, but all he could see was her face, the way she'd looked at him, not with anger, with calculation. Naomi stood in the executive floor hallway, empty, silent, just her and the city beyond the glass. Her hands were steady. They always were. She'd learned that young. Never let them see you shake. But the rage was there, old and familiar, like a scar that ached before rain. Service entrance, she'd heard variations of that her entire career. The assumption that she was there to serve, not to lead. The casual erasure. The willful blindness. What made it worse wasn't the novelty. It was the mundanity. Marcus Chen wasn't unique. He was typical. A symptom of a system that taught men like him they owned spaces like these simply by occupying them. Naomi walked slowly toward the corner office. Her office now, her building, her network. She thought of her grandmother, Eloise Clark, born in 1943, cleaned offices in this very building in the 70s, scrubbed the toilets of men who wouldn't meet her eyes in the elevator. "Baby," she'd told Naomi when she was 10, "power don't announce itself with a bullhorn. It moves quiet, and it always remembers." Naomi entered the office, sat in the leather chair, spun once to face the window. The city sprawled below. Tiny cars, smaller people, all of them living inside systems they thought were permanent. She pulled out her phone, dialed. "James?" "It's me." Her attorney answered immediately. "Naomi, how's the tour?" "Educational." She kept her voice even. "I need you to move up the staff announcement today, 5 o'clock. Conference A," a pause. "That's earlier than we discussed." "What happened?" "Nothing I haven't seen before." She watched a bird land on the windowsill. "But this time I'm not leaving the room. I'm restructuring it." "Are you sure?" "We can wait. Do this properly next week," Naomi smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Properly?" She leaned back. "James, I've been doing things properly my entire career. Being twice as qualified, 3 times as patient, smiling through insults and calling it networking. The bird flew away. Today we do things my way. Get it set up. Everyone attends, especially Marcus Chen." She hung up before he could argue. Outside, the sun was setting. Golden light turned the windows into mirrors. Naomi saw herself reflected. Emerald blazer. Natural hair. 42 years of navigating spaces designed to exclude her. Not anymore. The circle her grandmother started was closing. But it wasn't closing quietly. It was closing with receipts, recordings, and the full weight of ownership. "See you soon, Mr. Chen," she whispered to the empty office. Then she started making calls 22 years ago. Naomi's first media job. Intern at a regional news station in Virginia. She was 20, brilliant, hungry. She'd graduated early from Howard University with a double major in journalism and business. The newsroom was 90% white. The anchor team was 100% white. The janitorial staff looked like her family. Her supervisor, Brad, was 35 and already balding. He smiled too much when he gave her assignments. "Coffee run, Naomi. 2 creams, 1 sugar for me. Everyone's orders are on the list." She fetched coffee for 6 months. Then she pitched a story. Housing discrimination in suburban developments. She'd done the research. Found the sources. Built the case. Brad loved it. "This is great work. Really great." He gave the story to Chad, a white intern who'd started the same week. Chad delivered it on air. Got praised. Got hired full-time. Naomi confronted Brad in his office. "That was my story. My research. Why did Chad get the credit?" Brad leaned back, his smile never faltering. "Naomi, you're great at the grunt work. But Chad has a better presence for on-air. You understand?" She understood perfectly. She quit the next day. That evening, she sat in her studio apartment, crying into her grandmother's shoulder. "Baby, why you crying?" Eloise stroked her hair. "You angry?" "Yes. Good, anger's fuel. But don't waste it burning down other people's buildings." Eloise lifted Naomi's chin. "Build your own. Then you decide who gets to come inside." The next week, Naomi met Charles Lawson. He was 76, a retired black journalist who'd broken barriers at CBS in the 60s. She interviewed him for a freelance piece. He saw something in her. "You got the fire," he said, stirring his coffee slowly. "But fire without strategy just makes ash. You want to change this industry, you need leverage. You need capital. You need to be indispensable." "How?" she asked. He smiled. "Stop trying to be hired. Start trying to be necessary." Naomi spent the next 15 years becoming necessary. She launched her podcast from her apartment, built an audience, monetized ruthlessly. Every dollar went back into expansion. She created a production company, signed overlooked talent, women, people of color, LGBTQ voices. They didn't just make content. They made movements. Investors came calling. She took their money and kept control. When they tried to push her out, she had the contracts and the leverage to remind them who they were dealing with. She learned to code switch fluently, dress the part, speak their language, but she never forgot Brad's smile or Chad's credit. 5 years ago, Mr. Lawson died. His last words to her were simple. "Don't just break the glass ceiling, baby. Buy the whole damn building." Naomi stood at his funeral watching his grandchildren weep. She made a promise to his memory. Today she kept it. Channel 7 was hers, not just the building. The platform, the power to decide what stories got told and who got to tell them. Marcus. Chen had no idea he'd just insulted the woman who held his career in her hands, but he was about to learn. Naomi opened her laptop in the executive office. The network's servers were now hers. Every file, every email, every HR complaint. She started with Marcus Chen's personnel folder. Hired in 2005, promoted to lead anchor in 2012. 3 Emmy Awards. Ratings darling. Untouchable. Then she found the other files. Complaint from 2014. A Latina producer accused Marcus of dismissing her ideas in meetings, then presenting them as his own. HR mediated. No formal discipline. She left the network 6 months later. Complaint from 2017. An Asian American assistant claimed Marcus made repeated comments about her exotic looks and asked invasive questions about her dating life. Settlement reached. NDA signed. She received $50,000 and a recommendation letter. Complaint from 2019. A black intern reported Marcus ordered him to fetch coffee daily, then joked to colleagues that, at least he's learning his place. Informal warning issued. No record in official file. Complaint from 2021. A white female producer reported witnessing Marcus berate a sound technician, a black woman, for an equipment failure that wasn't her fault. He'd called her incompetent and questioned how she got hired in the first place. Investigation dropped after Marcus issued a sincere apology. Naomi read each file twice. Took notes. Cross-referenced dates with network milestones. Every complaint coincided with a ratings spike or award season. Marcus was protected because he was profitable. She found emails from Daniel, Marcus's current producer. He'd flagged concerns to management 3 times in the past year. Marcus's behavior is creating a hostile environment. Multiple staff members have approached me off record. We need to address this before it becomes a legal issue. The response from Richard Caldwell, the previous owner, was brief. Marcus drives revenue. Handle it quietly. Don't create problems where none exist. Naomi's jaw tightened. She opened another folder. Exit interviews from the past 5 years. 12 staff members cited toxic work environment as their reason for leaving. 8 specifically mentioned Marcus Chen. 1 note caught her attention. From Keisha Williams, a producer who'd left 6 months ago. I love journalism. I loved this network. But I couldn't love working somewhere that protected bullies because they had good ratings. Marcus Chen made every day a battle. Management knew. They didn't care. So I left. I hope whoever comes next fixes this. Because right now Channel 7 protects power, not people. Naomi closed the laptop. The office felt smaller, heavier. This wasn't just about what Marcus said to her. It was about a pattern, a system, a culture that chose profit over humanity. She pulled up her contact list, found Keisha's number from her acquisition research. The phone rang 3 times. Hello? Keisha Williams? This is Dr. Naomi Clark. I just purchased Channel 7. I've read your exit interview. I'd like to talk. Silence. Then a sharp inhale. You're serious? Completely. Can you come to the building tonight? 5:30. Yes. I can. Bring any documentation you have, emails, recordings, anything. How did you know I kept? Because I would have done the same thing. Naomi glanced at the files on her screen. See you soon. She made 4 more calls. 4 more former employees. 4 more people who'd been dismissed, diminished, or discarded. They all agreed to come. At 4:47 p.m., Naomi sent an email to all Channel 7 staff. Subject: mandatory staff meeting. Conference A, 5 South p.m. All personnel. She didn't elaborate. Didn't explain. She wanted to see their faces when they realized who she was, especially Marcus Chen's. Marcus finished his broadcast at 4:52 p.m. The adrenaline still hummed through him. Clean delivery, no mistakes. Professional as always. Daniel met him as he left the studio. His face was pale. There's a staff meeting. 5 o'clock. Conference A. Marcus pulled off his microphone pack. What's it about? The new owner. She wants everyone there. Marcus's stomach dropped. He'd been trying not to think about the green room. About her face, her words. Maybe it's just introductions, he said. Standard corporate stuff. Daniel didn't respond. His silence said everything. Marcus walked slowly to Conference A. The hallway felt longer than usual. Other staff members were filtering in. Producers, technicians, assistants. Everyone looked nervous. He arrived at 5:03, fashionably late. Still in control. The conference room was packed. Standing room only. He grabbed a coffee from the side table, forced a casual smile. Then he saw her. Dr. Naomi Clark stood at the head of the table. Emerald green blazer, same unreadable expression. But now she stood in front of the Channel 7 logo projected on the screen behind her. Marcus's coffee cup trembled slightly. He steadied it. She waited until everyone settled. The room fell silent. Good evening. I'm Dr. Naomi Clark. As of yesterday, I'm the majority shareholder and CEO of Channel 7. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some knew, most didn't. I came by early today to observe the culture, get a feel for how things operate when leadership isn't watching. Her eyes found Marcus. It was very educational. He tried to maintain his expression. Professional, unbothered, she continued. I want to share a story. This afternoon I sat in the green room. A senior member of this staff saw me. He assumed I was lost, suggested I leave. When I declined, he asked if I knew where the service entrance was. The room went completely still. That staff member is in this room right now. Marcus felt every eye turn toward him. His face burned. I didn't, he started. You didn't know who I was, Naomi finished. That's correct. But you made assumptions about who I could be based on my appearance. Let me be clear, that ends today. She clicked a button. The screen behind her changed. Marcus's personnel file appeared. Name, photo, position. His stomach plummeted. Over the next weeks, I'll be reviewing every aspect of this network's operations, culture, practices, personnel. Her voice was calm, clinical. Starting with those who've created hostile work environments. She pulled up a spreadsheet. Complaint summaries. Redacted names. But Marcus recognized the dates. Some of you have been protected because you generated revenue. That protection is over. We're going to have conversations, difficult ones, about who belongs here and why. Marcus's hands were shaking now. He set down the coffee cup. Mr. Chen, we'll start with you. Please stay after this meeting. She turned to the rest of the staff. For everyone else, change is coming. If you've been silenced, diminished, or pushed out, I want to hear from you. My door opens tomorrow at 8 a.m. The meeting lasted 10 more minutes. Policy changes. New reporting structures. A promise of accountability. Marcus barely heard any of it. When the room emptied, 5 people remained. Naomi, Daniel. 2 HR representatives Marcus didn't recognize, and a woman he did recognize. Keisha Williams. The producer who'd left 6 months ago, she was holding a folder. Marcus's blood went cold. The conference room felt smaller now. Just 7 people. The air was thick. Naomi gestured to the chairs. Please sit, Mr. Chen. Marcus remained standing. I think there's been a misunderstanding. What happened earlier? I apologize. You didn't realize I was your boss. Naomi's voice was flat. But you did realize I was black. You did assume I didn't belong. Those are the facts we're discussing. Keisha opened her folder, pulled out printed emails, time-stamped documents. 3 years ago, she said quietly, I pitched an investigative series on medical racism in rural hospitals. Marcus took the pitch to the network head. Put his name on it. Won an award. Marcus's throat was dry. That's not... We collaborated on that project. I have the original pitch document, time-stamped, with my name. Keisha slid it across the table. I also have the email where you told me my urban perspective wouldn't resonate with our core audience. One of the HR representatives made a note. Naomi pulled up another file. 2019. You asked an intern, a black intern, to fetch your coffee daily. When he mentioned he was hired for research, you laughed and said he was learning his place. That was a joke, Marcus said. His voice cracked. He knew it was a joke. Did he? Naomi pressed a button. Audio played. Marcus's voice, younger but unmistakable. Laughter in the background. The punchline clear. The intern hadn't been laughing. Marcus sank into a chair. His legs wouldn't hold him anymore. I've reviewed 17 complaints, Naomi said, formal and informal. Every one of them follows a pattern. Dismissiveness toward people of color. Stolen credit. Casual cruelty disguised as humor. She leaned forward. The previous owner protected you because you drove ratings. I don't care about your ratings. I care about the people you've harmed. Daniel spoke for the first time. Marcus, I warned you. Multiple times. You said I was being too sensitive. Marcus looked at his producer. His friend. Daniel, I can't anymore, man. Daniel's voice was heavy. I've watched you do this for years. I enabled it by staying quiet. That's on me. But I'm done. Naomi closed the folder. Mr. Chen, you're suspended effective immediately. Full pay pending investigation. You'll surrender your credentials tonight. The investigation will take 2 weeks. Then we'll make a final determination about your employment. Marcus's world was collapsing. You can't. I have a contract. Lawyers will... Your contract has a morality clause. We have documentation, witnesses, recordings. Naomi's voice was ice. Your lawyers will tell you the same thing I am. You're out of leverage. She stood. Security will escort you out. You have 10 minutes to collect personal items from your dressing room. Marcus tried to find words, explanations, anything. But Naomi was already walking toward the door. She paused, turned back. 20 years, Mr. Chen. You had 20 years to learn that talent doesn't excuse cruelty. You chose not to learn. That choice has consequences. The door closed behind her. Marcus sat alone in the conference room. Keisha had left. Daniel had left. Even the HR representatives had gone. Through the window he could see the city, the lights coming on as darkness fell. His reflection stared back at him. Smaller than it had ever been, his phone buzzed. His agent. His publicist. News was already leaking. Marcus Chen, star anchor, suspended amid workplace complaints. He thought of his parents, their immigrant dreams, their pride. He thought of the intern. The way the kid's smile had faded every time Marcus made that joke. He thought of Keisha. Her pitch that became his Emmy. He thought of Dr. Naomi Clark, standing in the green room, watching him dismiss her, and he realized something terrible. She'd been right to remember that conversation, because he'd just lost everything because of it. Marcus's dressing room was silent. The mirror lights were off. His nameplate already removed from the door. 20 years. Gone in 90 minutes. He sat in the chair where he'd prepared for thousands of broadcasts. The leather was worn smooth where his hands always gripped the armrests. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. His agent. His publicist. Colleagues texting carefully worded messages. Thinking of you. Call if you need anything. Translation, don't drag us down with you. Social media was a wildfire. Someone had leaked the story. The hashtags were brutal. Marcus Chen exposed in racist reporter into Channel 7 accountability. He couldn't bring himself to read the comments. He knew what they'd say. The security guard knocked. Mr. Chen, time's up. Marcus packed his things mechanically, photos, awards, his lucky pen. Everything fit in one box. That felt wrong somehow. He walked through the building for the last time. The hallways were empty. People were avoiding him. Or maybe they were just gone for the day. Either way, the silence was deafening. Outside, the city noise hit him, traffic, sirens, voices. Normal life continuing while his imploded. His car was in the garage. He loaded the box into the trunk. Sat in the driver's seat. He couldn't start the engine. His hands were shaking too hard. Marcus thought about his parents. They'd fled Vietnam in 1979 with nothing. Built a life here through sheer determination. Sent him to good schools. celebrated every career milestone. His mother kept every news clipping of his broadcasts. His father watched every show, recording them on DVDs. What would he tell them? He thought about the intern, Michael, that was his name. Michael something. Marcus had never bothered to learn his last name. The joke had seemed harmless. Everyone laughed. It was just workplace banter. Right, but Michael's face, the way he'd smiled but his eyes had stayed flat, empty. Marcus had seen that look. Ignored it. Made the joke again the next week. He thought about Keisha. Her pitch, her research, her work. He'd told himself they were collaborating. That putting his name forward helped the story gain traction. That she'd understand. She hadn't stayed to understand. She'd left. Now he knew why. His phone rang. His mother. Marcus stared at the screen. Let it go to voicemail. He couldn't face her voice. Not yet. The parking garage was cold. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. His reflection in the rearview mirror looked like a stranger. Marcus Chen, award-winning anchor. Industry veteran racist. That's what they were calling him. Was that true? He'd never thought of himself that way. He'd had black colleagues, Hispanic colleagues, Asian American colleagues, but he'd also made assumptions, taken credit, used his position to diminish others. What did that make him? The question sat in his chest like a stone. Marcus finally started the engine. Drove home through streets that suddenly felt unfamiliar. In his apartment, expensive, tasteful, empty, he sat in the dark. His Emmy sat on the shelf. Keisha's story. His name engraved, he picked it up. The weight felt different now. Heavier. Uglier. Outside his window, the city glittered. Millions of people living their lives, none of them caring that Marcus Chen's world had ended. He was alone, and for the first time in 20 years, he had no one to blame but himself. Naomi sat in her office at 7 p.m. The building was nearly empty. Just security and a few late editors. Keisha sat across from her. 3 other former employees were there too. Michael, the intern Marcus had mocked. Lisa, an Asian American assistant. James, a black sound technician. "Thank you for coming," Naomi said. "I know this wasn't easy." Keisha shook her head. "I didn't think anyone would ever listen. When I filed my complaint, HR made me feel like I was the problem." "You weren't," Naomi said firmly. "The system was, and that system is changing." Michael pulled out his phone. "I recorded some things. I wasn't sure if I'd ever use them, but after today..." He pressed play. Marcus's voice filled the room. Jokes, casual dismissals, moments that seemed small individually, but together formed a pattern. Lisa had emails. James had witness statements from other staff members. "I kept everything," James said, "because I knew if I ever spoke up, they'd say I was making it up. Black man's word against a famous anchor. I needed proof." Naomi reviewed each piece of evidence carefully. Her legal mind catalogued it, organized it, built the case. "This is more than enough for termination," she said finally. "But I want to do more than fire Marcus Chen. I want to rebuild this network's culture." She pulled up a document on her screen. "I'm creating a new position, Director of Diversity and Workplace Culture. Full authority to investigate complaints. Direct reporting line to me, not HR." Keisha leaned forward. "Who are you hiring?" "I'm hoping you'll take it." Keisha's eyes widened. "Me. You documented everything. You tried to make change from inside. You have the credentials and the lived experience." Naomi met her eyes. "You understand what needs to be fixed because you lived through what was broken." Keisha's voice caught. Yes, I'll do it." Naomi turned to the others. "I'm also establishing a confidential reporting system. Anonymous complaints go directly to Keisha and me. No HR filtering. No protection for valuable employees." Michael spoke quietly. "Will this actually work, or is it just PR?" "It will work because I own the network. Because I'm not protecting profit over people." Naomi stood. "And because I remember what it felt like to be dismissed in that green room. I will never let this building feel like that for anyone again. She walked to the window. The city sprawled below. Channel 7's broadcast tower blinked red in the distance. Tomorrow I'm calling a town hall. Every employee. I want to hear from people who've been silenced. I want to identify systemic problems. And I want to make it clear. The old Channel 7 is dead. We're building something new. Lisa wiped her eyes. I never thought I'd see this day. Neither did I, Naomi admitted. But my grandmother cleaned floors so I could buy buildings. Mr. Lawson mentored me so I could open doors. Now it's my turn to make sure those doors stay open. She turned back to them. Marcus Chen is one person, but the culture that protected him is the real disease. We're going to cure it together. Keisha pulled out a notebook. Where do we start? Naomi smiled. We start by listening. Then we start changing everything. 2 weeks later, the boardroom on the executive floor. 10 board members sat around the mahogany table. Marcus Chen sat at the far end with his attorney, a sharp-eyed woman named Patricia Vance. Naomi stood at the head, Keisha beside her. A presentation loaded on the screen. Thank you for coming, Naomi began. We're here to discuss Mr. Chen's employment status. I've completed my investigation. I'd like to present my findings. Patricia leaned forward. Before we begin, I'd like to state for the record that Mr. Chen denies any intentional wrongdoing. The incidents in question involve misunderstandings and workplace culture issues that affected everyone, not targeted behavior. Noted. Naomi clicked to the first slide. Let's review the evidence. The screen showed a timeline. 17 incidents over 12 years, each one documented with dates, witnesses, outcomes. Incident 1, 2014. Producer Maria Santos reports Mr. Chen presented her research as his own. Investigation concluded with mediation. No discipline, Patricia interrupted. Collaborative work often involves shared credit. That's standard practice. Except Maria's original pitch document, time-stamped and saved on network servers, shows her work. Mr. Chen's later presentation is nearly identical. He never credited her, Naomi clicked. The documents appeared side by side. The similarity was undeniable. One board member removed her glasses. Incident 7. 2019. Intern Michael Hayes reports Mr. Chen repeatedly asked him to fetch coffee, then made jokes about knowing his place. The audio played. Marcus's voice laughter, the punchline, Michael's voice quiet. I was hired for research. Marcus's response, sure you were, kid. But everyone starts somewhere, right? More laughter. Patricia shifted. Mr. Chen was mentoring the intern, teaching him how newsrooms work, by treating him like a servant. Keisha spoke for the first time. Michael has a master's degree in journalism from Northwestern. He didn't need to learn his place. He needed to be respected. Naomi continued. Incident 12. 2021. Sound technician James Porter reports Mr. Chen berated him for equipment failure, called him incompetent, questioned how he was hired. The equipment failure was later traced to a producer error. Mr. Chen never apologized. She played security footage. No audio, but the body language was clear. Marcus leaning into James's space, finger jabbing. James stepping back, hands raised defensively. Incident 15, 6 months ago. Producer Keisha Williams reports years of dismissive behavior, stolen credit, and racial microaggressions. She left the network rather than continue fighting. Keisha's voice was steady. I loved journalism. I should still be here. But working under Marcus Chen made every day unbearable. And when I complained, I was told to be professional. I was professional. He wasn't. The board was silent. Patricia tried again. These incidents span over a decade. They represent a former workplace culture, not Mr. Chen's current behavior. He's undergone sensitivity training. Training he was never required to complete, Naomi said. She pulled up more documents. 3 times HR recommended training. 3 times management waived it because Mr. Chen was too valuable to spare for a day. She clicked to the final slide. The green room security footage. Marcus's voice. Did you get lost? The intern offices are downstairs. If you're looking for catering, his dismissive gesture, there's a service entrance on the ground floor. Might be easier for you to find your way that way. Naomi paused the footage on Marcus's face. Annoyed, superior, certain. This happened 2 weeks ago. To me, your new owner, and Mr. Chen made the exact assumptions he's made for 12 years, that a black woman in a professional space must be lost. Must be service staff, must not belong. The room was silent. One board member, an older white man named Gerald, spoke. Dr. Clark, this is compelling, but Marcus Chen has been the face of this network for 2 decades. Terminating him will impact ratings, morale, advertiser relationships. Naomi turned to him. Mr. Harrison, what impacts morale more? Firing one toxic employee, or telling every person of color in this building that their dignity is worth less than ratings? Gerald had no answer. Another board member, a black woman named Diane, cleared her throat. I vote for termination, effective immediately. Second, said another. Patricia stood. This is premature. We can negotiate. The vote is called, Naomi said. All in favor of terminating Marcus Chen's employment for cause. 9 hands rose, 1 abstention. Gerald, the motion passes. Naomi closed her folder. Mr. Chen, your employment is terminated. You'll receive severance as outlined in your contract, minus provisions related to morality clause violations. Your network credentials are revoked. You're barred from the premises, Marcus finally spoke. His voice was hoarse. You didn't mean to be racist, Naomi finished. You just were, repeatedly, for years. And that's exactly the problem. Patricia gathered her materials. We'll be reviewing potential legal action. Do what you need to do, Naomi said calmly. We have documentation, witnesses, recordings. I welcome discovery. Marcus stood. He looked smaller than he had 2 weeks ago. Older. I'm sorry, he whispered. Naomi met his eyes. You should have been sorry 12 years ago, after the first complaint. The second. The third? She paused. Now your apology is just grief that you got caught. Security appeared at the door. Marcus walked out slowly. He didn't look back. When the door closed, Diane exhaled. That was brutal. It was necessary, Naomi said, and it's just the beginning. 3 months later, Channel 7's morning meeting looked different. The faces around the table were younger, more diverse, more women, more people of color. Keisha led the meeting. Our harassment reports are down 70%. Employee satisfaction surveys are up 42%. We've hired 12 new producers from underrepresented backgrounds. Naomi listened from the back of the room. She rarely took the head chair anymore. She wanted the team to lead. The evening news had a new anchor, a black woman named Simone Harper. Her ratings were climbing steadily. Keisha continued. We've also launched the fellowship program, 20 entry-level positions for candidates from HBCUs and minority serving institutions. Full salary, real assignments. No coffee runs. The room laughed. After the meeting, Naomi walked through the building, stopped by the green room. A young black man sat on the couch. He wore a royal blue blazer. Looked nervous. First day? Naomi asked. He jumped to his feet. Yes, ma'am, Dr. Clark. I'm honored to... She smiled. Relax, you belong here. What's your name? David Chen. Naomi paused. Any relation to Marcus Chen? David's face fell. He's my uncle. I almost didn't apply because of everything, but my mom said I shouldn't let his mistakes cost me my dreams. Your mom is right. Naomi extended her hand. Welcome to Channel 7, David. Make your own reputation. His smile was grateful, relieved. In her office later, Naomi found a letter on her desk. No return address. Marcus's handwriting. She opened it. Dr. Clark, I won't insult you with more apologies. You've heard enough of those. I'm writing to tell you that you were right. About everything. I spent 20 years believing my talent excused my behavior. It didn't. I've lost my career, my reputation, the respect of my family. I deserve that, but I want you to know I'm in therapy. Real therapy. Confronting things I've ignored my whole life. It's brutal. It's necessary. I'll never work in this industry again. I've accepted that. But maybe I can learn to be better. Not for redemption, just because it's right. The intern's name was Michael Hayes, I remembered. Marcus Chen. Naomi folded the letter. Put it in her desk drawer. It didn't change anything, but it was a start. She walked to the window. The city stretched below. Channel 7's broadcast tower blinked steadily. Her grandmother's photo sat on her desk. Eloise Clark, 1943-2018. Cleaning uniform. Proud smile. We did it, Grandma, Naomi whispered. We bought the building. Now we're changing who gets to walk through the doors. Her phone buzzed. A text from Keisha. Town hall tomorrow. 200+ employees signed up to share ideas. This is really working. Naomi smiled. The work was just beginning. There would be more challenges, more resistance, more people who didn't want change. But she'd built her power, carefully, intentionally, and now she was using it exactly as Mr. Lawson taught her, not to burn things, down to build them better. The camera pulls, back from Channel 7's headquarters. Evening light paints the glass gold. Inside, the newsroom buzzes. Diverse faces work side by side. Stories that were once ignored now lead broadcasts. Voices that were silenced now shape the narrative. Naomi stands at her window. 42 years of fighting to belong in rooms designed to exclude her. Now she owns the room, and she's changing who gets invited. Marcus Chen lost everything because he couldn't see past his assumptions, because he treated people as obstacles instead of equals, because he believed talent excused cruelty. It didn't. It never does. The story isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. Systems that protect power over people don't just harm individuals, they rot from the inside. Change doesn't come from asking permission. It comes from accumulating leverage, building power, then using that power to dismantle the structures that shouldn't exist. Naomi's grandmother cleaned floors so her granddaughter could own buildings. Mr. Lawson broke barriers so Naomi could build bridges. Now Naomi is ensuring those bridges stay open. The green room where Marcus dismissed her is the same green room where David Chen prepares for his first broadcast. The circle isn't just closed, it's remade. Racism costs more than careers. It costs systems their credibility. It costs individuals their humanity. And sometimes the person you underestimate is the one holding your future. Power doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It moves quietly. It documents everything. It waits for the right moment, then it remembers. Naomi Clark remembered, and she built a network where no one would have to fight to belong again. The lights of Channel 7 blink steadily against the darkening sky. Inside, the work continues, not because one racist anchor was fired, but because the culture that protected him was finally, fundamentally changed. Don't just break the glass ceiling. Buy the whole damn building. Then decide who gets the keys.